In honor of Bike Month, it's time to spread the joy of cycling by sharing some of the best rides, events, and people in California to help get starters into the love of gravel. Now, starting off can be very intimidating, as you know, maybe our first steps didn't go as smoothly. But gravel is very accommodating. All you've got to do is take the first steps. My baseline why I ride bikes is the experience. The ability to absorb these scenic landscapes over a generation of trails and landmarks, riding at a human scale, is the most enriching way of discovery. Gravel bikes are great complements for their versatility, and the ability to go off-road brings more possibilities while taking you away from traffic too. These opportunities aren't just unique to gravel. As long as you're out there cycling, including an e-bike, you're doing it right. For starters, I want to highlight some of my favorite routes in California where you can ride with entry-level fitness while not needing heavy technical skills. I'd like to begin with one of the most exquisite trails, regardless of ability, in the Half Moon Bay Coastal Trail. There's about 12 miles of coastline bliss, where the northern part is mainly paved bike path. But riding off-road right next to the ocean without being in danger of falling into it is an experience you'll remember. You'll also not want to miss the great little diversion in the middle, riding through the tree tunnel by Wavecrest Beach, easing through this lane of cypress trees. There's a little bit of undulating by the Four Seasons, but at worst it's a tiny bit of walking, as even my wife and I had a fantastic time renting these single-speed beaters. Just past the golf course, you save the best for last, going through Cowell Ranch, where you can enjoy the open space more and catch an amazing bloom in the spring. If you're willing to add a couple short climbing efforts on the other side of Highway 1 to the unique self-service coffee shop known as the Bike Hut off of Tanitas Creek, and on the northern end of the route up by Pilar Point, you can catch some stunning cliffside views up and down the coast. Also on the northern end, there's tons of places you can eat, and also central to Half Moon Bay, try Dad's Luncheonette, which is a cyclist's favorite. You can also have a similar riding experience about 45 minutes south of Half Moon Bay at Wilder Ranch State Park. That's on a smaller footprint, but connected to the trail system of Santa Cruz. One of the best places to go out for starters are along our Rails to Trails conversions, and you don't have to go any further than this Hall of Fame listing in the Biz Johnson Trail. Starting from Susanville, this path has 25 miles of converted trail that largely follows the Susan River. While not flat, the grade doesn't go above 3%, making it friendly for trains and cyclists. You could turn around at any point, but you can incorporate Corver Road with a bit more of slope on the way back if you want to switch it up. A great way of experiencing this area is through the Lass and Gravel Adventure Ride that has a number of distances that incorporates the Biz Johnson Trail, including a 14-mile family ride. The Los Angeles area has a lot of epic cycling, but not as much to offer for those that are just starting out. My favorite spot to get people hooked is Point Mugu State Park, which is on the western end of the Santa Monica Mountains. It may be just across the county line, but Sycamore Canyon sits right off the ocean with a 7-mile jaunt with a nominal grade heading north. Continuing on the flat part, you could turn around at the picnic bench and you can enjoy a nice easy ride on the way back. You may also want to check your timing, as surprisingly, you might catch some pretty heavy creek crossings in the springtime. What's great about Point Mugu State Park is that as your skills improve, you can add more intermediate options like Two Foxes or Ranch Center Road as you progress. And after the ride, you're not too far from Malibu, so it's going to be a good day. Heading down to San Diego, there's quite a number of options that follow along the tributaries that lead out towards the ocean. But the ride that mainly comes forward is Lake Hodges. With the dam built over 100 years ago, it's obviously calming to ride along this waterway that's very popular with cyclists. While a cornerstone for the Belgian waffle ride, there's a lot of flat offerings along the shoreline on the San Dieguito Trail and is central to many other off-road options. If you listen to Gravel Stokes' recommendation, you can also add a stop at Hernandez Hideaway on the northwest side, a fun training ground in the San Jose area that everyone's going to have fun at is at Calero County Park. The trails through here are characterized by playful undulations where you can keep the flow going on and on. If you're just starting out, begin on the east entrance where you'll have about 5 miles of rollers following the reservoir. You can take it up a notch doing the double loops to the north that add a bit more vert where the efforts are short and stay well below the double-digit grades. The southern loop is also counterclockwise. That's a smart choice to avoid passing conflict, helping the ride experience. If you're looking to expand your gravel options nearby, check out the Pockets of the Bay Trail. That's a nice reprieve to these metropoli. A magical spot to catch the super bloom is a Carrizo Plain National Monument found in the southeast corner of San Luis Obispo County. As the name suggests, there's a lot of flatness abound, and even getting over Elkhorn Ridge is less than a mile climb. The complete loop around is about 70 miles, but you can find a number of cut-throughs that can shorten the distance to your liking. Tons of people check for flowering updates at the beginning of the year, but some of the best way to see these blooms is by bike. We can have them all to yourself. I know I've left the riding off of the inland area, but that's because there's so much of it, and the best way to experience is to collaborate with other cyclists. Riding in groups is one of the funnest parts of cycling, and here's some good company that you should be connecting with. Sacramento has a number of great opportunities thanks to its nexus of waterways. Bike Dog Brewery holds a number of rides throughout the month that's friendly to all levels of riders, including their Thursday night ride in the middle of the year out of Velo Veritas in Old Sac. That's only about 20 miles of riding and stays near Ground Zero. And yes, you're pretty guaranteed to end with a brew too. Grizzly Cycles out of Bakersfield is also a great resource that has a stoke that's welcoming to all. Thanks to all the infrastructure needed to hydrate this farmland, there's a ton of choices thanks to all the causeways and connecting roads. There's also a number of rolling climbs they sometimes go into in the foothills that are of the no-drop variety that are great for getting you going. In between these two, the Fresno Cycling Club are very active in getting people introduced with the off-road scene with a number of meetups members can join throughout the month. They also host a number of events like Everyone Loves Raymond as you start getting acclimated with longer rides and a bit more climbing. Of course, there are a number of groups, clubs, and shops throughout the state that if you ask around, I'm sure they'd love to get you into the fold. Last, I want to mention a few more events that once you get your feet a little bit wet with climbing, offer some fantastic experience where you'll be grateful for doing those few extra miles. Mammoth Tough is a wonderful showcase of the Eastern Sierra over all their distances, but their shortest is able to pack in all this pageantry as well. Starting out with a fun descent into the Inyo National Forest, the beauty of riding under the scale of the Owens Valley goes unmatched, surrounded by the tallest mountains of California. At 40 miles, with 2,300 feet of gain, it's more about the altitude and riding with 40mm and above tires, as along the way, you don't want to miss Hot Creek Geological Site's elegance. If you're looking to start out in racing, the Grasshopper Adventure Series has been doing it for 27 years in Northern California. While there's a number of events to choose from, Huffmaster rolls about an hour northwest of Sacramento, with the shorter course carrying 54 miles, with a hearty 2.5-mile climb early but paved, but the majority of the course you can really spin through, with a number of ride marshals there to aid, catching this region in the perfect time of spring. In Southern California, the Dirty Bear is part of the larger Tour de Big Bear that typically has a 25-mile route that's going to take a little bit of going up in the mountains, but hey, in August, you're going to want to love being at that elevation. You can also find a number of great rides near the Oregon border that offer shorter distances in a relaxed atmosphere in the Shasta and Greenhorn gravel grinders, as well as the Artist Survival over Memorial Day weekend. Bottom line, if you're just thinking about doing gravel, don't think too much about it, just do it. The freedom you feel exploring at a human-powered pace is unparalleled and only gets you want to do more. So you should try taking someone new along to thank those that paid it forward for us. California is a pretty big state, and you can help our coverage by supporting us on Patreon or hitting subscribe button to bring you more. From the State of Dirt, enjoy.